this might be game.
Yeah, it's
just one push and that's
Look
it.
at that. We've got every single kind of dragon, apart from Electro Dragon. Look at all of that mess. This is insane. Oh, the rocket, we've seen that before. Will it be enough?
But the double rocket comes out. That'll be enough.
That's it. And in the, actually on the,
the
longest
5 HP in that top left with 3 seconds left. That could be the point.
Brought to you by Vodafone. The future is exciting. Are you ready? TCL for the next level visual technology. And JBL, enhance the way you listen.
Good afternoon and good evening, Clash Royale fans. We are back with Week 7. This is the playoffs of the High School League. Clash Royale, taught to you by HSL. I hope you're all having a fantastic time in your isolation bubbles. My name is Jonathan Arkadian Jansen, and I am here with Belinda Hope, aka Blendy, from our safe, sanitized, and remote little bubbles here, letting the esports continue. How are you going tonight, Blendy?
I'm going fantastic. Thank you very much. You know, I've been having a fun time this week testing out a new deck, which I'll talk about later, but it is, I'm calling it the Group Stage All-Stars deck of what I think were the most popular cards during our Group Stage Challenge.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit further into the broadcast. I'm excited to see how that came together, but we have some absolutely massive matches tonight because we are finished with group stages, and tonight will be the first week we will be going into the playoffs, the quarterfinals. Let's take a look at how the tournament will be structured from tonight and for the final weeks. These are the top 8 teams, and they will be competing in 3 weeks of playoffs. Now, this is a single elimination bracket, which means that the stakes could not be higher. The differences in this going from the group stages to playoffs is that the 2v2s are now a best of 3, as well as the 1v1s, and we'll still be using the King of the Hill as a tiebreaker. So those are the first changes. Anything on that, Blendy?
Well, look, I am super excited to see a best of 3 of the 2v2 challenges because, as we know, those are such exciting games to watch. So now we get to see even more.
Exactly. And for those games we will be playing for, this is what they're all here for. The prizes tonight, thanks to Vodafone New Zealand, winners will be able to walk away choosing from Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, or Vodafone credit to the value of $750 for first place team, $525 for second place, and $300 for third place. But that's not all. With your credit, there's a little bit more here thanks to JBL. The teams will be walking away with the $750 for the first place team worth of JBL audio equipment in the form of JBL Quantum 400 headphones and the JBL Clip 3 speakers. That's one for each player. Second team will be walking away with the JBL Quantum 300 headphones and the JBL Go 2 speakers. And third place, $300 worth of value, with each player or 3 players walking away with the JBL Quantum 200 headphones. Now that in itself is a pretty amazing prize pack.
Certainly is, and I think it's super exciting that you know, this is probably the only sport that can continue during this lockdown, and to come out of it with all of those prizes at the end when you get to go back to school, I can't think of anything better.
I know, absolutely. I mean, I remember back when I had the little headphones in, anything I could scramble together to play my games, but they get the JBL amazing audio equipment, the Vodafone credit. But that is not all, because as well as all that, they're going to be able to walk away with the TCL Plex Mobile, thanks to TCL, an amazing smartphone with $499 Australian, and the top winning team will walk away with 3 of those. Let's check out the TCL Plex Mobile.
The new TCL Plex mobile phones. See visuals come to life on a premium 6.3-inch HD display powered by its own display engine developed by TCL. With triple rear cameras and a long-lasting, fast-charging battery at a great price, the TCL Plex is the perfect all-rounder phone.
What a way to round off the prize pack, the phone, the audio equipment, the credit, everything you could need, just like you said, to come out of lockdown.
Amazing. I can't imagine anything more exciting.
But for those prizes, these teams have to prove that they are the absolute best in Australia and New Zealand in the High School League for Clash Royale. And so let's take a look at tonight's bracket and have a look for the first time at our top 8 teams who have made it through. Now we have Zero, Team Anti-PTW, Wrath of Frost, Warlocks, Funeral Parlor, VAR, Barnes Babes, and Nossel as our top teams. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a single elimination, so these are the matches that we're going to see tonight. Zero versus Team Anti-PTW to start it off, and so on. We'll be going through all 4 of these matches, and the winners will continue into the semi-finals, and then again in the third week finals with the bronze playoff. And so there is still a long road to victory, but we can see some familiar names here. But we've also seen some names that we might have expected. We had some teams like Flinders and Quanta. They ended up going 9 wins and 2 losses during the regular season, but they still weren't able to make it through to the finals just because of how strong this competition is. Most of these, or all of these teams tonight, going at least 10 wins or 11 wins out of 11 games into this group stages. And so these are the absolute best of the best. And to start off our night, without further ado, let's take a look at our head-to-head. We have Zero from Middleton Grange School versus Team Anti-Pay to Win, or PTW, from Armidale Secondary College. Blendy, what do we know about our teams?
Well, we don't know too much, but let me tell you something about Kronos from Zero. Now, they're obviously spending a lot of time practicing during this lockdown because they have got over 6,000 trophies. So I can't wait to see them play. And Anti-P2W, they are a group of friends from the same class at school, and their school is actually a brand new school that's only been going for a couple of years. It's 2 schools that have been merged together, and it's fantastic to see that they have incorporated esports as part of their program. So this is amazing, and they're going to be able to go back to school after this and say that they've represented their country in an international esports tournament. Pretty cool.
Absolutely, exactly. It's not only that they're getting into esports, but they're able to make it to the top 8, which is an amazing achievement out of the amount of teams that entered at the start of this whole thing. And to make it this far in the tournament for all teams, a fantastic achievement. And for those who didn't make it as well, I'd just like to do a quick shout out. You all performed to your best, and fantastic to be able to just participate. And unfortunately, not everyone made the cut, but we are going to see some exciting matches tonight. And so without further ado, hopefully we will switch to the 2v2 fairly shortly, and we will see these 2 teams battling it out. Have you got our bans coming into the first 2v2?
I do. The 2v2 bans for this round are Tornado and Golem.
Tornado and Golem. And so we won't be able to see. We usually see a replacement for Golem if one of those goes, as those matches go through. And so let's see if we do. But remember, this is the first time we're seeing a 2v2. You mentioned it before. That is a best of 3. Usually it's an important point because they can get a surprise off the bat and take out that early one, but this will be a best of 3. So do you think we'll see a different strategy heading into this?
Yeah, well, look, we're into the game already, and we've seen wall breakers being placed in the center, so they split and go down both channels. That was a nice start.
And we do have Angus and Jay Spring on Team Anti-PTW versus Arkadian, and unfortunately my kanji's not that great on Zero's teams. So I won't be able to pronounce his name. But Mega Knight coming on the Inferno Tower, not quite getting there, blocked by the Valkyrie. Really good placement.
There's a good classic cards coming out. Valkyrie, Knight, Inferno Tower. They're oldies but goodies. They take their through to the quarterfinals.
A lot of value there from the Bomb Tower. I think we're going to see a different level of play now with all these teams being so phenomenal. We know that they're at that high-performing level, so I don't think they're going to be able to make a mistake. They cannot afford to place a tower in the wrong space, or a structure or a building in the wrong area. That Bomb Tower is great positioning and to get both sides. I'm excited to see how well these teams do.
This is serious play now. This is not really just fun time playing any longer. There are serious prizes up for grabs that are literally only a few games away if you can win them. So it's tough times, and we don't want to make any mistakes.
That is true. And so taking it in, 1 minute 20 still to go in this match. It looks like Zero's got a little bit of an advantage on health from both Princess Towers. They've done both, well on both sides, really. Nice splitting pressure across the 2 channels. Let's see how...
So really very little damage done overall. They're both doing an excellent job of defending, sending out all their troops, and yeah, there's an answer for everything.
Exactly. I don't think we're going to see any King Towers being taken down during these matches for some reason.
Now we see Earthquake. We haven't really seen Earthquake at all during the group stage, so that's an interesting play.
And there it is again, taking on the bomb tower there, getting some damage down.
We're down to 1,200, 1,700 at the top, 19 and 2,300 at the bottom.
Now I haven't seen a lot. Yes, it is, breaking down that tower's health. They're keeping both sides on relatively low health here from zero. I haven't often seen that.
Yeah, look, we're going to go into overtime. Will it get super exciting? It's kind of just a way to take down a little bit more. It's chip damage.
Now, with overtime, it only needs one tower to break and the game will instantly be over. It was quite a big attack there from Team Anti-PTW to throw out the rocket and the poison and everything else. And now a counter-attack coming through here, defending that.
Poison again. A musketeer coming through. Look, we're down to 600. Won't take much. Probably a rocket could nearly take that out. So if that cycles through, if there is a rocket, I don't think they're planning one.
Not on Zero's side, but it's interesting that they're still fighting both sides. I haven't seen this strategy where, you know, they're splitting the damage very, very heavily. They're choosing their channels, where it looks like Team Anti-PTW is hitting more down the right-hand or the right-hand side, sorry.
Yeah, I'm very curious to understand what their communication channels are as
Here comes the rocket.
Will it be enough?
400 health. But the big attack coming down from Zero on the tower. The poisons are going.
Double poison. Look at that. The double poison takes it out. We've seen that so many times in these games. That poison is the one that takes the win. Now, poison is #1 on my group stage all-stars deck list. So if you want to add that in, I'll be telling all the other cards as we go through the evening.
Absolutely. Now, that is the first set of the, or the first match of the 2v2s, but we will be seeing one more. Zero takes it out with the victory there, and they're going to have to start into the next match. Any changes, any differences you think? Zero performed pretty solidly. I'm not sure what Team Anti-PTW could do to pull back on that one. We will see as we head right into the match.
I was just wondering about their communication tactics, because you pointed out that they were following up both channels. I would have thought in a 2v2 that you'd be working together to back each other up on one channel potentially, but they weren't doing that. So obviously they've got another strategy that obviously works for them, because this is where we are.
Yeah, it was almost as if they were, they were just, it was almost like a 1v1 on each side of the map was happening.
Yes. Yeah.
But big attack coming through here on Anti-PTW.
But it worked for them.
No, it did. They did a good job.
Look at this, baby dragons, a mini pecker.
And a daddy pecker, oh no, Mega Knight, not a big...
Yeah.
The mini pecker's uncle, I'll call him. And the Electro Wizard coming through. Gonna get some damage off. Little skeletons to take them out. Nice little low-cost clear spell.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You know, the absolute basic card, skeletons, in this game, having it in a deck at this high level, I wouldn't have expected to see that. But I can see that it's in both teams' decks.
Yeah, it's not something that I personally often use. I like to prefer, I think the skeleton army gives you a lot of value, but I guess it's at the elixir cost with that. Logs coming down, trading some damage on both towers. And here comes the miner.
And we see those skeletons come and take out that miner. It's backing up the knight and the mini pecker and the witch coming out.
Yep, arrows coming down to clear out the goblin barrel there as well. Just some back and forth here as the time ticks down. We're about to kick into the 2x elixir phase of the match. 60 seconds left, and so the teams will start throwing out a lot more cards here, and a lot of poisons coming through. The double poison damage is definitely doing, causing some havoc for them.
Now that poison was placed so strategically, it was exactly up against the King Tower, but not waking up the King Tower. So placement is so key in this game, as we know from every week's session.
And here comes the rocket coming out, taking out the damage for Zero. Zero throws out a giant snowball, slows down everything. But that Inferno Tower is going to get a lot of value through, especially if that Mega Knight makes it over the bridge, which he will. And some big damage coming down, a big attack coming through from Team Anti-PTW, but cleared out thanks to the Witch and the poison of their own. The Valkyrie should get one swing, take out the Witch and the bats as well. 10 seconds left.
Look at this. And those skeletons kind of waste that time with the mini P.E.K.K.A. That was a strategic play into overtime.
Two poisons, both sides. Again, knocking down both the health on both channels. Big defense coming through. Anti-PTW wanted to end the game right here, putting a poison down with the rocket. And it's going to get low, but not do the whole job.
That double poison on the opposite towers could have been done better if they were on the same tower. But look, we're down to 300 and
the
200.
Ram Rider couldn't quite get there. And here comes the poison. They've rotated the spells. I think this is another victory here for Zero. That's going to tick away.
Another poison win, there it is.
And again, like we've seen in the previous matches, Poison's most valuable card on that match.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be adding that to the quarterfinals deck list, I suppose. But it seems to be the winning card. So if you haven't got it in your deck, you need to do it.
I mean, it's just so versatile, isn't it? I mean, what do you think it is about Poison specifically that really takes it that little bit further?
Well, you know, it's attacking buildings and troops, and it's doing chip damage on everything, and then it helps to back up every other attack that you're following in with it. So, you know, it's pretty versatile, and it doesn't cost very much. So, yeah, chuck it in your deck.
A surprising amount of damage. I always feel like it lasts just that little bit longer and does so much more, you know, more than you'd expect it to do, especially in a 2v2 when you double it up like that. But that is Zero, taking out the 2v2 2-0. And so now we're heading into the 1v1s. What are our bans for the 1v1 match?
So we have got Lightning Dragon and P.E.K.K.A.
Lightning Dragon and P.E.K.K.A. And this will be Kronos on the side of Zero versus Bushrat for Team Anti-PTW. This is going to be an exciting match. Remembering here that Zero, so far as a team, are 11 wins and 0 losses. They have not dropped a single match this game, and so are Anti-PTW. These are two undefeated teams facing off against each other for the opening match tonight. And look at the tower going down. Princess Tower taking a huge amount of damage. I think that was there was a technical difficulty in that match. We sort of get thrown in, see it halfway through. The wrong player was in that one, and so we will just do a quick remake as we build that through. But like I was saying, Zero and Anti-PTW are two undefeated teams, and so that just goes to show the level of play that we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, and look, I would just like to clarify one thing. I've said that it was Lightning Dragon that was a ban, but obviously that's not actually a card. I'm just not sure whether it's Inferno Dragon or Electro Dragon. So we may get some clarification on which specific dragon it is that's banned for this match.
Electro Dragon shoots lightning, and so I think I'd take the bet to say that it's potentially potentially. I call him a Lightning Dragon sometimes, but we'll see which one doesn't show up in the match as we get into it. But this next match with the 1v1s, and we'll crack into it right now. It is Kronos, we talked about earlier. An absolutely monster of a player. Looking at his trophies, I think he topped out at 8,000 trophies in one of his best season. Yeah, so absolutely huge. And here we go, Bushrat U2 versus Kronos. Let's see how we go. Now Kronos starting off with some spear golems coming through. And
then
again,
here's our favourite card, Poison again. Now the Poison with very good placement. It's taking out the Inferno Tower and the Princess Tower and everything else that was walking through that. So a pretty
just
cheap
huge
and
value.
amazing.
Four elixirs what he spent on that, and he got rid of the Inferno Tower and the Electro Wizard and the damage on the Princess Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just see why it's such a powerful card. And the bat's coming down to clean up the Lumberjack. He won't be able to get much value out of that rage spell. Some nice defense coming down, but even now, Bushrat's already down to 1,600 health on his Princess Tower. Still early days, though.
Yeah, we're only
card choices here from, you can see Zero's deck, a lot of low-cost cards, short cycle, so he's going to be able to pull out that Miner quite often and pull out the Poison as well.
Well, that seems to be a good combo, so let's see Poison come out as many times as we can. And we've got a Royal Giant coming down. That's another favourite that features in my group stage All-Stars deck.
And Bomb Tower nicely placed there. Distract the Royal Giant, take him out, and then those bats will end up taking out the... No, they won't. The little dragon, baby dragon, doing some good damage there. And the Mega Minion coming down on the other side.
Mega Minion is an interesting choice. It's not a card that we often see, and it's not a card that I really play, but interesting to see it at this stage.
Absolutely. All right, now this with our 60 seconds left, 2 times Elixir. I'm expecting Kronos to kick it up a gear. Now that he's getting so much Elixir, the game's going to start getting a little bit more fast-paced. The Inferno Tower coming down, wiping out the skeletons, and some damage coming down on those towers.
Yeah, this is the point where those cheap cards that he's got in his deck is really going to pay off. We've got double Elixir, you'll be able to churn through them twice as fast.
And good placement there on the Knight, pulling away the aggro from the Baby Dragon. And some big attacks coming through on both sides. The pressure is there. Miner knocking down that tower, and the bats coming through. They're not really going to get to the Princess Tower. And a split attack here. Royal Giant. They are. 10 seconds left. Lightning Spell dropped to knock down that Bomb Tower defense. But there's a big attack going down through the right-hand channel.
There sure is, but look at this coming up on the side here. We've got Skeleton Barrel, we've got Spear Goblins, we've got all sorts going down. We've got it down to 900 and 700. We're in overtime. Whichever one of those towers goes down first will win the game.
Here comes the Miner. This might be it. The Miner.
1100 on the bottom.
We'll see a Poison as well coming through. That's the Miner and the Poison.
Yes,
that might be the game for Kronos.
It's certainly good.
Here it comes.
100.
One more hit.
That Poison lasts so long, doesn't it?
It does. It does
Now,
a huge amount of damage. Here comes the skeleton.
Taken out by the skeletons. Good game. Yes, it was.
Absolutely. Kronos pulling out their first win in the 1v1s, but again, it is a best of 3. We will see another chance for Bushrat coming through on this one, but we did, like we expected. We saw the 60-second or the 2 times Elixir phase start, and then Kronos started throwing out all of those low-cost cards. What do you think that is the best defense for something like that if you were sitting in Bushrat shoes?
Well, we did see some really good defense. There was the Royal Giant, which is really good because it kind of sucks up all of the smaller attacks that were coming through from Kronos. So it prevents those troops from heading through to the tower. And of course, it has almost as much health as a tower, so you can take them all out on that. So that could be a really good defensive strategy to see again.
We'll see if Bushrat pulls that through. And again, Kronos starting off Hog Rider this time. And the Tornado. That's 2 new cards straight away. Both these players seem to have changed up their strategy a little bit.
Well, that's an interesting risk to take. You know, you've just played a game and you know, they both played so well. It was a very evenly matched game. So I kind of thought they would have played the same deck again, but that's all right. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And some small skirmishes going on here. Hog Rider jumping over the river, trying to make it through to that tower. We'll get some damage down on the right-hand channel. The Firecracker versus the Ice Wizard sort of evening out. I think nothing's going to be really taken just there. I mean, it is really interesting to see these types of games like the 1v1 we saw earlier, because like I mentioned, these teams are undefeated, both of them. And so these guys, neither of these guys are pushovers, but it just goes to show how dominant some of these players can be.
Just throwing out a log there. Throwing out a Barbarian Barrel.
Get some free damage.
Yeah. Now, I love seeing a Firecracker. This is one of my personal favorites. And Firecracker is so great because it steps back, so it gives it a chance to not be attacked.
And I've just heard that. Can you, Blendy, are you able to confirm the bans for me on this one?
Yes, so they've been confirmed. It is Electro Dragon. We were right with that assumption. And P.E.K.K.A. is the other ban.
All right, and so we do see. Is it? Can I get clarification on whether it's the mini P.E.K.K.A. or the P.E.K.K.A. band? It looks like it might be the mini picker. And so I think Zero will be forfeiting the match. I've just heard from our officials and the producers that the Kronos is actually using a banned card. Mini Picker was banned for these cards, and players know about that in advance. And so Kronos, unfortunately, will be dropping this match by default. I'm not sure if we're going to end up playing it out, but we will see. But this will count as a win for Bushrat on YouTube. And again, sorry about this, everyone. I've just heard back from the producers again. That's been fake news. We will continue with the match. This will count. I think it was the full picker. Confusion on our side, not in the game.
That's
Players,
right.
Players will keep going.
Look, we're 18 seconds left to go. It is getting super exciting. We've got logs and earthquakes and all sorts going on. We're down to 1,000. Are we going to be able to take this one out? There's 1,600 on the bottom. I don't think there's going to be enough attacks coming through.
All right, now down to overtime, and so any tower will end the game. Just to confirm it again for everyone, this match will count, and Zero's coming through. Kronos wanting to finish this game with the mini P.E.K.K.A, but the Tornado brilliantly timed to pull away those units just before the mini P.E.K.K.A slammed down his little mini sword. Firecracker still getting some decent damage on there through the splash. Can he stop the Hog Rider? Bushrat doing everything he can to stay in this one.
Doing the last damage to the log coming through as a last-minute result. We've got 157. Will the Firecracker be able to survive the tornado? No.
Bushrat throws out the GG. He knows he can't quite hold him off for long, and there goes the Hog Rider slamming down his helmet to end the game. Well played to Kronos. Sorry, everyone, about the confusion during that. Sometimes the baby P.E.K.K.A can be confused for his daddy in some of the matches, but that will count as a win for Kronos, and that means that they win the 1v1 stage. And so Zero take it out. They win the first match of our playoffs, and they will be our first team confirmed into the semifinals heading into next week. I'd be worried if I was the other teams looking at that kind of performance. That was pretty solid, a clean sweep, considering that both teams were undefeated.
But they are that much closer to winning that amazing prize pack. So they will be celebrating right now, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And so with that being our first game through, we have 3 more exciting games. And so be sure to stick around for the rest of the broadcast. We will be right back right after this break. Good evening and good afternoon, Clash Royale fans. We are back with the Week 7 in the High School League Clash Royale Championship. It is our first night of playoffs. We just saw Zero versus Anti-PTW battle it out in an absolute slugfest, with Zero taking away the victory and securing the first spot in the semifinals. Anti-PTW suffering their first and only loss. That's all it takes when you get to playoff stage. The stakes are high tonight.
They played so well at such exciting games, and they will be very sad that they are having their first loss. But look, you know, you're in the playoffs. Be proud of that massive achievement. So good.
Absolutely. And so we will look to our second game of tonight at the head-to-head. It is Wrath of Frost from Mount Albert Grammar School versus Warlocks, also from Mount Albert Grammar School. These two teams so far have an 11-win and 0-loss record. Again, neither of these teams have dropped a single match, but they're also from the same school. Blendy, what else do we know about these two teams?
Well, I've got a fabulous message from Wrath of Frost, who would like to thank the head of esports at Mount Albert Grammar School. First of all, that sounds like an awesome job, Mr. Sue. And they also want to thank the High School League team for inviting them and all the others into this fun, exciting tournament that's testing everybody's gaming abilities. This tournament has been a great way for students in New Zealand and Australia to build bridges in a fun, competitive way. And they feel this competition has created an open, outlooked path of success towards the future in esports. That's pretty great. Now, this roller coaster ride has miraculously led us all to the way to the playoffs and hopefully further into success. And to finish, they want to thank the rest of the competition's competitors for having such a high level of dignity and respect for all of us. So isn't that wonderful?
That is so cool. I mean, it's nice. It's amazing to see such a culture created around esports in a school, Mount Albert Grammar being one of the schools who had a lot of teams submitted into the tournament. And I think that just goes to show show the dedication from not only the students for showing up and saying, hey, we want to do this, but from the staff as well, and the other people involved in creating those teams and being able to manage it. We've seen Mount Albert Grammar School be on the broadcast quite a lot through the group stages, and so it will be exciting to see these two teams finally face off, and we'll see who's going to advance into the semi-finals with 0 as the tournament goes on. A reminder for everyone at home that these 2v2s are now a best of 3, and so these matches won't be over in a whim. I believe that we'll start jumping into the 2v2 just shortly. Do you know what the bands are heading into the 2v2, Blendy?
I do. The 2v2 bands are Inferno Tower and Balloon.
Inferno Tower and Balloon, which we know is a Messi Don't Jam favourite. we've seen him come through with the Ice Spell Balloon combo.
Yeah, well, Balloon and Freeze are both in my group stage All-Stars deck from these guys, so I'll run through the whole list of the cards later on.
We'll see how this these two start off. The 2v2s can get exciting pretty quick, and so when we do have a little bit more of a lull, we can talk about where that deck came from. Oh, look, it's a poison spell.
Poison and 2 Executioners and a Baby Dragon. Executioner versus Executioner versus Baby Dragon versus Baby Dragon.
These decks look very similar.
I think this is quite interesting for these teams where they actually know each other and they probably practice with each other a lot, and so they can understand what their gameplay is. And that probably makes it a little bit potentially a disadvantage and advantage compared to the other teams that they're coming in cold and don't know what their cards are and how they play.
For sure, I think it adds another element to the game for sure. You know, knowing that they've probably versed each other 100 times, and we're just watching one of them, albeit a very important one. But they probably understand each other's playstyle very well. And the Lightning Dragon.
Yes, I wonder if there's any. I wonder if there's much sort of team backstabbing going on, yeah, I know that you love this combo and I'm going to secretly sneak in this other card just before we go live. And yeah, I wonder if that happens. But look, here we see our Baby Dragon and Executioner again. I wonder if we'll see the other two come out.
Exactly. I have a feeling that might be the case you were mentioning before. We got the Skeleton Barrel here instead of the Balloon, because we know that Messi Don't Jam loves the Balloon. We remember his clean sweep of the King of the Hill, knocking out an entire team with his Balloon Ice combo, and conveniently, Warlocks banned the Balloon.
That is pretty sneaky, but I'm sure that we will see something similar. Oh, look, we're seeing Golem versus Golem come out. This is interesting.
Here it comes. 2 gargantuan units slowly working their way down here. Poison and Earthquake being laid down.
And Tornado, all the spells coming out. Wonderful see a
massive onslaught. 30 seconds left and neither team are really giving it up. A huge attack coming through here. Giant snowball stopping, but the little baby golems are going to get onto that Princess Tower, knocking it down slowly. Only 800 health left on that one. And look, Warlock's Tower is fairly untouched.
It certainly is. I don't know that they've got much at all. Maybe 100. And that's from the Skeleton Barrel going out again.
It's looking pretty good here from the Warlocks. What can we do as we go into overtime? Now look, all these advantages may have stacked up, but they mean nothing, because as soon as one single tower drops, the game will be over. That's what overtime means here. 1 minute, 50 seconds, and a big Golem trudging on through, followed up by an Executioners, an Electro Wizard, another Golem coming down for Warlocks. Tornado pulling them all together. Some massive lightning spells being dropped. Huge combo.
I think this could be a surprising win. You know, they've just taken down 2,000 points nearly.
They have. The damage is still coming through. The Golems moved to the other side, but being torn up here by a lot of the smaller units. 600 health, 500 for Wrath of Frost, 400. It's slowly dropping.
Pretty even now.
Away from death. Here comes the first poison.
And here's the first poison.
And what have we got as the cards are rotating on Wrath of Frost? This is going to be really close. Here comes the second big attack here from Wrath of Frost.
Oh, look,
and they take it away.
Wow. I bet they're all on the edge of their seat. I was certainly on the edge of my seat.
That was amazing. Great job there from Wrath of Frost. They were on the defensive all game versus the Warlocks. You know, we went into overtime with 800 health versus an untouched Princess Tower, and there was some big fights that came through that ended up turning that around. Just what we love to see.
Was so good. Absolutely, and there were so many spells there. We had the earthquake, and we had the poison, of course, and we had tornado, and those really supported all the other action that was going on. We had all the executioners and the golems, and bats even. You know, bats is another favorite that also features in my special group stage all-stars deck because it supports everything else. I'll eventually get through the whole list tonight, I'm sure.
We will. When we get into a small break period, we will go through that special all-star deck. But that is the first 2v2, but that is not all that we will have. Warlocks have a chance here to pull a point back and take it to the third game. We'll see if they can do it once again. Warlocks from Mount Albert Grammar School versus Wrath of Frost from the same school, all schoolmates, all friends, battling it out here on the international stage. And let's see if the teams have chosen almost exactly the same start as before. Early poison coming out. See if we see any changes in these decks.
If they swapped out Executioner for Electro, was it perhaps? And we've got a Magic Archer in here too.
We do, and we didn't see that last time. It looks like Warlocks might be taking a different approach. The range on the Magic Archer is deceivingly good.
It certainly is. You know, it goes through everything. It's as though the deck is, the play area is in 2 dimensions because it goes through everything that is in the sky or on the ground or is a building.
Huge poison there from Warlocks. Getting really good damage there, taking down all the units, the log finishing them off and getting the damage on the tower. Almost a repeat of last game. We see Wrath of Frost here with 1700 health on the Princess Tower very early in. A significant amount of damage to have lost. Let's see if they can pull out the magic they did last time.
Well, here comes the Executioner sneaking around the back of the Princess Tower, and the Executioner versus a Mini P.E.K.K.A. Who's going to come off best out of that battle? Oh, they took each other out.
And the little column from the Golem Hut is walking his way through. Looks like Shrek. doesn't get anywhere.
Look, we've got a dragon fight going on, Inferno Dragon and Baby Dragons. And are any of them going to make it to the tower? No, the Electro Dragon came out as well. And now here is our Golem, the first Golem of the game.
And I'm sure we're going to see one coming out from Warlocks as well. With that mana building up, Elixir coming on through. And the first attack, Executioner and Golem, a scary combination. Giant Skeleton and the cannon actually here. So we're not going to see a Golem potentially, at least from Mr. Killer.
Now the Tornado draws the Golem right into that the Goblin Hut there. But the Giant Skeleton possibly is going to end up dropping its bomb very soon, which could end up blowing up some attacks, but no, it ended up not doing too much. No.
Really good giant snowball there just to slow that skeleton down to avoid exactly that, I think. Really good play. And here we've got 2 units dropped on the left-hand channel taking up that attack, but very quickly torn apart there by the Electro Dragon and the Baby Dragon. And here we do see that Golem coming out from Warlock's side. A big attack coming through on both sides. Almost about to go into overtime here. Poison taking down the Princess Tower health. And a big defense here from Frost.
We're heading down to sub 1,000 into the overtime. Not quite, but here we go.
And this is it. This is last game. We went to overtime. This is where we saw Wrath of Frost really kick it into gear. Let's see if they can do the same thing. Poison coming down, knocking down that tower. I mean, it looks like Warlocks has a pretty rational, logical way to victory here. All they need to do is rotate cards, throw out a couple of poisons, and they should be able to take that Princess Tower.
They do. Look, there's such good defense coming up. If that giant skeleton placed before had made it through, that would have been game over. But the Inferno Dragon, everything else is defending. Look, there are so many attacks, and there is an answer for every attack.
And here comes the big Golem. Going to take out that hut, and he's going to try and turn around, pulled across to the other side. Fantastic tornado there from Wrath of Frost to pull that attack across. But look, Princess Tower with the poison, 400 health, going below 400, 300, being taken down slowly. They're trying their best for that defense, and they do well, but 240 health on a Princess Tower and overtime is not a safe place to be.
Now we've got to defend the Executioner because one hit will take it. Here is our poison. Is poison going to be the winner and a log? There we
throws down the
go.
zap. Saved up a couple of their spells, and they are pulling out one back for themselves. Warlocks taking out the 1v1 for the equalizer, really. That's 1 point apiece now. Wrath of Frost managed to come from behind in that first match, but Warlocks did not take the foot off the throat in that second match, and they've ended up 1-for-1. We're now into our first tiebreaker of the night, but I don't expect it to be the last with the caliber of games.
That was such an exciting game. You know, they've got all those spells saved up, and I think they were doing such good teamwork. And especially in that last moment where they just laid down all of their spells to try and do whatever damage they could to take out that last tower for the win. And here we go into the next game.
Now, while we do have a second, I know this is a tense moment, but while we do have the opening cards coming down, we usually see a couple of trades here. Do you want to just give a little bit of a further explanation into your players champions deck that you've created?
Certainly. So obviously #1 card is Poison. I've got Golem as well. That was another popular card that was played. And of course, Freeze and Balloon. That combo is one that we saw from Nessie Don't Gem many times, a very successful combo. And Rocket, of course, so many times we saw that was the winning card on the night. And Miner, that was a popular one that most people use. And Royal Giant. And then, of course, Bats. Now, those cards don't necessarily go together, but I've been testing this out as a deck today, and it is super fun to play. So if you want to make a deck out of that just for fun times, as the Group Stage All-Stars favourite cards that I thought won the games, you can give that a go and see what you think. I had a lot of fun playing with it.
They were pretty much consistently the most used cards from most teams as we went into this, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. So I will be very interested to create a similar style deck for the playoff.
Now let's get into the exciting phases of this match as the timer counts down. We are 1 minute 20 left in the regular gameplay, and both teams just trading as they often do in the early stages of the matches. Poison coming down. A lot of chip damage though lost on Wrath of Frost, but nothing too dissimilar to what we've seen before. This time though, Wrath of Frost has managed to get both the Princess Towers down a little bit further than they have in the early stages of the game. It seems like Wrath of Frost really shine in this phase right here, where the Elixir comes into the 2-time stage and they start to really pump out those troops. That's a Golem coming through with Bats, that followed up by
a Lava-Hound and an Executioner and a Giant Skeleton. This is just epics all around of crazy. What have we got that's super strong? Let's just lay it all out.
Huge, tanky, beefy units for sure. And the Poison comes down, not quite able to do damage on the Princess Tower. No, it's a friendly Poison actually taking out that Golem. All these units, little bloodbath coming through here. Baby
so
Dragon versus
dragons.
the Electro Dragon. And the Skeletons coming down just to absorb.
Everything's going super fast.
It is a battle zone. And the barrel
but, you know, all of that, there wasn't too much damage. We've got one tower that's just on sub 1,000, but you know, for all of those troops that were placed down, all of that elixir cost, you didn't really see.
Which just goes to show exactly how proficient these players are with the efficiency and how they use their cards, their patience, and their knowledge of how to counter them with just the right elixir. I don't think I'd be able to get anywhere close to clearing out that many units with the amount of elixir that they're using, and so they're being very, very efficient here. Another Poison coming down, knocking down the Tower of Frost. They need to desperately defend. Only 500 health left. Big attack coming through. This might be it, and it is. They're calling out the GG 18 health.
It was so good. Look, there's even more Poisons coming out. Now, they played a Poison several times. They placed the Poison just over the Princess Tower and also the Goblin Hut, which destroyed the Goblin Hut. But then, of course, when that explodes and it releases all of its goblins, the Poison got all the goblins as well. So it was a double hit.
lots of value there. And it takes a lot of skill to place that just in the right place to be able to get the Princess Tower, the Goblin Hut, but not the King Tower. You don't want to wake that up. And so we're seeing there's a lot of layers and depth to these types of fights, especially the massive onslaughts that look like bloodbaths on the river, but each player is carefully watching when and where each unit is being spawned. It's hard to sort of appreciate just how in-depth and complex these fights are and how those decisions dictate the results in this. But we are done with the 2v2, going over to Warlocks. They'll take away the point, and we will be going now into the 1v1s. We have Aqua versus Pickle Games, and the 1v1s will be a little bit different.
Yeah, I was wondering if these teams, we see them battling each other. Hopefully they're good friends in real life. If one of them ends up taking out the prize pack at the very end, I hope that they share. Let them occasionally use their fancy phones for some battles. Let them occasionally use their awesome JBL phones and things.
You can look at my TCL Plex mobile, but you cannot touch. That'd be my rule. You can appreciate from afar. And the bandit coming out, clearing out the little barbarians. And the Royal Ghost. Getting some nice damage
so they've changed up their decks here. We've got all sorts of different cards being played this time, except for Poison, of course, the old favourite that must not be removed from a deck, it would seem.
No, it goes to show. I wonder what would happen if, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen any Poison bans.
Yeah.
And what speaking of bans, what are the bans for this game?
The bans for this game is Golem and Miner.
Golem and Miner, which we won't see either of those. Miner looks like it would be quite a good addition to Aqua's deck as well. And so he'll have to deal without on this one. Good attacks coming through. Just about to hit into the 2x Elixir stage. 15 seconds left for the first phase of the game. The Battle Ram coming through and the minions clearing out any threat coming through that right-hand channel. Baby Dragon and Electro Wizard. They're not really contested here. It's going to be a lot of damage.
No. Well, we've got Electro Wizard versus Electro Wizard, and that sorted that out, but I think that's going to disappear.
All right, 45 seconds left in regular time. Elixir starting to flow for both teams, and the big picker comes down, followed by the
Royal Ghost. So that will be a nice, super strong force to come up. The Barbarians will get taken out. But we need an aerial defense. We've got a baby dragon coming through.
And the big Pekka are taking out a lot of units there, tanking a lot of damage with the Electro Wizard in support. Aqua's Electro Wizard being taken out pretty quickly. Lots of value here from Pickle Game. Electro Wizard. Here comes the big onslaught of attack. Royal Ghost left with a whole horde of barbarians, but thanks to the splash damage, he'll take those out. It is now overtime.
So we have had very little damage to the towers overall. So we're
be very even.
Basically, yeah, they are very even, and as we know, it's first to get one down, so it could go anywhere.
I would say it's being quite even. It's hard to poke or choose which team or which player is better and poke holes in their comp, but I do see that Pickle Games has a poison. And from experience, I'd say that Poison's going to have a little bit of an advantage here. Are we going to see it dropped right now on the right-hand channel with that big attack coming through? A lot of uncontested damage. Princess Tower down to 1,400 health on that attack.
Yeah, that was interesting that it was uncontested because there's so much going on the other side and you don't want to let something sneak up.
And here comes the Graveyard coming through. Overwhelming a little bit of the defense there. These skeletons are going to start to really hurt, but he closes down with the zap, shuts down the threat, and now we've seen the poison being dropped, taking down those barbarian huts slowly.
Now, Barbarian Hut is an interesting one. I love Barbarian Hut because the barbarians keep on coming out, but it's quite expensive to play, and having two of them out there at the same time, that's a lot of elixir.
Yeah, but he's getting I think he's getting a lot of pressure off them. A lot of barbarians are coming through. He's getting good attacks. The Electro Wizard from Pickle Games, though, is cleaning them up or doing a lot of value to them. Another big attack coming through by Pickle Games on the right-hand side. 25 seconds left in overtime. This might come down to a tiebreaker.
And they are super close. They're so even as well. There's only going to be points in it.
Here it is. Now, it is going to be down to the points. The 2 poisons coming through. Graveyard coming through on Pickle Games' Princess Tower. It is going to be 1,200, 1,100. Both of these towers are only points within each other. A second poison coming down. That might win the game for Aqua. Tiebreaker, here it comes. It does. He takes it by only 100.
By 172. Wow. What a game.
And so
that's almost heartbreaking.
The first game comes out for Aqua, and you know, Aqua had a poison the entire game, and he did not play it until the last, I think even almost an overtime was the first time we saw that poison being played.
That's right. So yeah, it came down to poison against poison of who could win it the fastest.
And it turns out poison in Graveyard beats just one poison, and so it was a great match. Really, really well, evenly balanced there. Both players really fighting it out. And again, these guys know each other. They're from the same school. They're both undefeated, and so this will be a chance for Pickle Games to go, how do I turn this around? How does he win this one?
Yeah, well, how can you add more poisons? You can't really. I don't think clone works on a poison. So.
A mirror works on a poison?
Yeah, you could do mirror. Now, I'm not sure that we've seen many players use mirror, but perhaps this is an opportunity where mirror and poison could go together, because it wouldn't be too much elixir to be able to get that out. So that could be something to think about.
And the next 1v1, we are breaking into it. Warlock starting off with the early points there, with Aqua's winning the first 1v1. We will see how it turns out in the slow stage of the game. Both players just trading slowly.
You see the tears already, the stress is building. It's getting to them. Who's going to crack first?
Now, it looks like Aqua is definitely taking the same deck through this match. We're seeing a few different cards come out from Pickle Games.
Yeah, Magic Archer, that's probably a very good card to use against these barbarian huts, because it can cut through the buildings and everything else that's in front of it and behind it.
Yeah, that's a good point. These barbarians, they do have a deceivingly high amount of health.
They certainly do.
And here's the first barbarian, or the second barbarian hut played. But you're right, it's a 7 elixir. It's quite expensive to have 2 barbarians come through. The big Peck is going to try and clean that out. But even if he does get to the bridge, he's just going to be distracted by the barb hut.
Yeah, you know, it's good placement right in the middle there. So it certainly does protect the Princess Towers from any attacks that are coming through. But does lay vulnerable for poison attacks like this.
Okay. And here we go. Here's the Magic Archer and a lot of the value he gets. But it looks like a fantastic counter by the Barbarian Barrel there. And maybe that's going to be the answer.
Very nice play.
And the Electro Wizard gets a lot of free damage in there, you know, but you can only choose. Do you use the Barbarian Barrel on the Electro Wizard or the Magic Archer?
Well, yeah, I guess we'll see how we go. There's a very interesting collection of cards in this deck. The Royal Ghost is pretty powerful, and I think people have sort of forgotten about it because it's an early card that you get earlier on in the game.
And the Magic Archer getting some great value through, getting a little bit more damage down onto that Barb Hut.
Now, this is the type of situation that I think the Magic Archer is suitable for, where you've got 2 Barbarian Huts together and you could be able to shoot through both of them. Obviously, the poison also gets all of them as well.
Now, we're just going into overtime here, and both Princess Towers have been barely touched. They're all above 2,000 health. So this is definitely looking like a one-crown game. Graveyard being dropped for the first time from Warlocks down onto Pickle Games'
that combo
tower.
of Graveyard and poison.
Cleaning it up. Is that a... That's I think that's a... No, it's not.
There was a rage in there as well, I think.
1,100 health is 1,000 down. One more of those, and that might be game over for Pickle Games. And those Barbarians chipping away at the tower down there on the right-hand side. The zap comes through, but he's still going to keep going.
Well, we're down to below 1,000.
Yeah, those Barbarians did a good job.
Yeah, look, I think another combo of Graveyard and Rage on one of those bottom towers will be enough to possibly take the game.
What I would really like to see is to have Aqua sort of bait him into, bait Pickle Games into acting, putting a few cards on that left-hand side, and then dropping this combo. There's another poison, really threatening the health of that Princess Tower.
Will we see the Graveyard come out?
Now he needs to rotate some cards. There's the poison for Pickle Games. I think we're one card away from getting the poison back into his hand. And a big attack coming through here. Electro Wizard and the Barb Tower. He's definitely going to have Graveyard and Poison now available to him, but he has to use it to clear out a lot of those threats happening. And Pickle Games putting down a poison of his own.
Wow.
Switching the pressure up. Fantastic defense here by Pickle Games.
Well played. Yes, it was. 30 seconds left. Here comes the Graveyard.
You're the Baby Dragon and the Mega Minion with the Electro Wizard doing his best. Poison coming down. There's that combo that we were talking about. It's going down fast, rapidly. 200, 260.
But the Magic Archer manages to hold it off. Well done. That was such a good counter to that.
But 8 seconds left. He's got to do 1,000 damage to one of these towers to even get close to be able to take out the
I don't think it's
tiebreaker.
going to happen.
Fortunately, it's not, and that is Aqua taking out the tiebreaker. We'll see him drop. Boom. There goes that bottom tower. Pickle Games dropping against Aqua again. And you know what that means? That means that Aqua and his team at Warlocks are taking away the victory here, knocking out Wrath of Frost. Again, that is our second team of tonight. They were 11 wins and 0 losses, and now they are walking through into the semifinals. They're joining 0 in those in that fantastic match. We're seeing a lot of poisons tonight. It seems to be the theme of the game at the moment.
Certainly is. But also I'd like to point out, you know, the last couple of games that we've seen, nobody took out any towers. It literally came down to who's got the most or the least points left at the end of the game. So it just really goes to show how good these teams are, how well matched they are. They are both playing at the top of the game and they are so good.
Absolutely. I think it's a great point. During the regular season, we saw barely any tiebreakers. So far, we've seen 2 already. And that will, it goes to show the high level of play that we are seeing. And we have 2 more matches coming up tonight. And so do stick around. Don't turn your browser anywhere. Don't touch that mouse. We'll be right back after these messages. Good afternoon and good evening, Clash Royale fans. Welcome back to High School League Clash Royale Split 1. I am Jonathan Arkadian Jansen, and we are joined here with Belinda Hope, aka Blendy, from our safe, sanitized, and remote bubbles during the isolation. How are you going tonight, Blendy?
I'm doing super well. This is so exciting. Such good teams playing such good Clash Royale. I hope everyone's super excited to keep going with all the other games that we've got going on tonight.
Absolutely. For those of you who are just joining us, it is playoffs night. We are finished with our group stages and we are currently battling through the quarterfinals to determine which teams we make it to the semifinals. Now, so far, we have had 2 teams qualify into the next round, being Zero and Warlocks. And tonight, we've got the graphic for you. You can see here Zero and Warlocks making it through into the semifinals. They will be competing next week, both undefeated teams, both knocking out undefeated teams earlier in tonight's matches. And we still have Funeral Parlor versus VAR coming up. And then we're finishing the night with Barnes Babes versus Nossel. And so some exciting games. But we will be going into our head-to-head for tonight. Our next game is Funeral Parlor from Burnside High School versus VAR from Mount Albert Grammar School. So, Blendy, tell us what you know about these teams.
Well, we've seen Funeral Parlor play a few times before. This is going to be a very exciting game. Funeral Parlor have come through this challenge with 11 wins and no losses. And VAR have come through with 10 wins and 1 loss. So these 2 teams are both amazing, super well matched. Let's see how they battle against each other. And I'll tell you the bans for this game. These 2 bands also feature in my group stage All-Stars deck. So Rocket is banned and Royal Giant is banned.
And
so 2 favorites.
Absolutely, we do see those cards used. I think it's always interesting. I'm excited to see. I hope at some stage we do see a poison ban. I think that card's been so prevalent this season or for the last few seasons in professional play, and so it'll be interesting to see how teams react if that is done at some stage. But a reminder that this is a now best of 3 for the 2v2, and we will be seeing Funeral Parlour, who I believe made it. They were at least in the finals for last split.
Yeah, well, let's see how we go, because we are into the game.
And it is Chief Shahad and Mr. Murdoch on VAR versus Jaden is Pro and CJL on Funeral Parlour's side. Splitting some bats across. And we see a little goblin hut being placed there with the baby dragon. Taking that battle ram. Cleaning that up. We will see the usual trades just as we start off the game.
Oh, look at this. It's a double lava hound. Now, I think we may have seen this in previous games with Funeral Parlour. So this is going to be pretty tough to defend against.
Yeah, huge. Both VAR saving up a lot of elixir. Well, they actually, VAR just used some elixir on the Sparky on the other channel. They're going to ignore the lava hounds by the looks of it and try and get a tower of their own. Valkyrie being
I'm not sure that poison is enough to take that down.
There's a huge amount of damage going to come through. Is it enough?
So we've got lava pups and an undisputed lava hound coming through. That tower is gone.
It is a huge attack, and I think it's a massive mistake by VAR just to ignore it completely, drop the Sparky. Hope they could trade towers, but Sparky was not enough. And so now Funeral Parlour are focusing their attention now on the right-hand channel. I mean, we haven't seen towers go down this early all night.
No, certainly not. I mean, most games have ended with almost no towers going down or just one at the very last second. So to have one down and at this point is, I think, like you say, it was a bit of a mistake to leave those 2 lava hounds. And by the time that those 2 cycle through again, look, here we see it. They know that it works. So this
the Royal Ghost is going to get a lot of damage. So the Mega Minion, I'm not sure how it's going to deal with that Royal Ghost just in time, and the Sparky coming through. So here we see VAR's first combo. The Sparky able to get that, or the Sparky didn't hit it, but they were able to get that tower. But there's 2 massive lava hounds at so much health. VAR going straight for the King Tower and actually starting to win that trade. The balloon's going to come through. This is huge. This is a massive attack.
If that doesn't go down, then it'll go through to the King Tower. Look at that.
It's gone. It's going down.
Everything's thrown at it.
And they are going down to the King Tower. 18 seconds left.
Another lava hound, baby dragon, more poison. They're just throwing everything out.
Just a huge amount of, I don't know, I don't think that VAR knew how to deal with that. That was just huge. Funeral Parlour taking out the first point of the 1v1.
Well, that's possibly the first game that we've seen that didn't go to overtime. So that's very interesting. It was a great game to watch.
It was a quick one. There was a lot of excitement. Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. So moving on from on to the next match, those 2 lava hounds we see Funeral Parlour drop quite often in the 2v2. 2 lava hounds down, followed up with a lot of support as it comes through. I mean, how do you defend against that? What kind of cards do you need to really beat those 2 lava hounds?
Well, the thing is that obviously these players have got excellent communication because they're both playing it at the same time on the same channel. So if you didn't have such good communication and you end up playing Lava Hound on 2 channels, well, I mean, that's still going to be great. But to have them both together every time, it does make it very difficult to defend against. I suppose you probably need to have some kind of building, really, to distract them and then follow it up with something else that's an aerial attack.
2 Hog Riders being dropped very quickly here from VAR as soon as the game starts, and a Valkyrie will try and clean them up, but not before losing 1,000 health. You know, a great start here from VAR. That's a nice little quick one. The second the clock started, they pushed those 2 through.
Now we've got Baby Dragon and Lava Hound coming down. Will we see the double Lava Hound? Perhaps the cards haven't been dealt in the same order this time, and so you can't do a double Lava Hound, perhaps.
We will see a lot of aerial units coming through from Funeral Parlor, and aerial units can be tough to combat or counter if you don't have enough troops or units that can attack. Let's see if they've changed up their cards at all. It looks like they have. Vars are coming in with a different approach. Let's see if it is...
They had bats, which was an excellent attack on the Lava Hound, and of course bats features in my Group Stage All-Stars deck, and that took out the Lava Hound plus all of its lava babies. So
they do have a good answer by the looks of it. Now, does a Lava Hound do damage when it explodes, like the Golem?
I'm not sure that it actually does. Oh, they've woken up the King Tower. They didn't want that to happen, but that was an excellent use of the tornado to drag that in to waken that up. And they did send out the well played.
If it wasn't hard enough, it's going to be that's going to make it just that little bit more difficult here for VAR as they verse Funeral Parlor coming in undefeated. And the Inferno Tower, like we suggested.
Yes, and poison took out the lava huts as well. So that was a nice use of poison there. We're down to 1,000 and 1,600. Who's going to be the first to do the next big damage?
Now, it looks like this match is much, much more closely contested. Both towers, 1,000 sitting on Funeral Parlor's Princess Tower, 1,600 sitting for VAR. VAR's adapted very well. You've got to give them props for being able to, think on their feet, change up their strategy, and really counter what Funeral Parlor were laying down.
Absolutely. I think they got a bit of a surprise in that first game, and now they've stepped it up. And they said, hold on a second, let's just try that again. We've got this.
Yeah. You see two Lava Hounds drop and all you've got is a Sparky, you know things aren't going to go well.
Yeah.
And here
we see a double Lava Hound again. And
he dropped in the Infernal Tower starts
double Executioner and a Poison and a Tornado. Is it going to be enough? We're down to 1,000 on each as we go into overtime.
And the Tornado there ended up dragging the pups away and gave that Inferno Tower the chance to really knock down on the second Lava Hound. And so that was a fantastic play by VAR. Counterattack big coming through. Even though a lot of units were dropped, no damage was really laid down on that tower. Both very equal here.
We've got Inferno Dragon coming through. We had such good defense. That Goblin Box was a very good distraction.
Now, Letro was the perfect counter for the Inferno Dragon. Resets his attack every time. And doing his valiant best, but here comes the balloon with the Lava Hound. Here's going to be a big onslaught. Poison coming down. The Inferno Tower doing everything it can. Tornado dragging it away. And it looks like VAR came away on that one on top.
Yeah,
Executioner's coming through.
The Battle of the
big attack
Log.
coming through. 800 health.
So,
700 for VAR.
So, it's a race against time. Look, this really does come down to how fast you can get your cards out. Are you cycling them the same every time, or are you...
Here comes the Miner. The Miner's been dropped, but he does see it. VAR's coming through, giant snowball, 300 health. I think that's within poison range. I'm not sure if we're going to see Funeral Parlor drop that poison. Log plus poison.
It could be now. Yeah.
Dangerous situation. As soon as they can get that poison out, I'm sure they're going to end up using it. There it goes with the zap.
Poison and a zap. Yeah, good game all around. That was very, very well played. So strategic.
Absolutely. Funeral Parlor taking away the second game in the 2v2, which gives them the first point on the leaderboard. The all-important 2v2 win. Now it is entirely up to VAR to come back in the 1v1 to try and pull it back. They would be, if they did make it through to semis, they'd be the second Mount Albert Grammar School team to make it into semis, but Burnside High School returning champions, they are not going to take that lying down, pulling away the first win. I'd say pretty decisively. I think that was the second game was very close, but the first one was a little bit of a stomp.
Yeah, look, I think everybody worked very hard for that win, so well done to them. Now, I have got big news for you.
All right, let me hear it. What have we got? Are these our bans?
Well, this is the bans for the next game. So we're on to the 1v1s next, aren't we?
We are. We're on 1v1s now.
Yep, 1v1s. So you won't believe what is being banned this time. We have got a poison ban and we've got a graveyard ban. So this could be a very, very different game to what we've seen.
Let's see how you win a game. Yeah, let's see how a game can be won without poison. I almost forgot that you could do that.
Well, let's see a masterclass in winning a game with no poison. We use a tornado and all sorts, so let's watch.
Waking up the King Tower there with the tornado. Great job from Realbab on Funeral Parlour's side. And Sock representing for VAR in the 1v1s. I would say fairly even start right now, except for the King Tower being woken up is a pretty big advantage for Funeral Parlour. That extra little bit of defense is going to come in handy, especially when you're down to the wire in the games like we've had so far.
Absolutely. Now, it almost seems like that Barbarian Barrel was just kind of a throwaway because it wasn't destroying anything, but it was a nice little distraction for the Inferno Dragon.
And sometimes it's just nice to get it out of your hands. It's no point in it sitting in there with 10 elixir just ticking away. And a little bit of trading here, back and forth. A little bit of damage coming down onto that tower from the Infernal Dragon. 2,000 health. And the miner...
It's a goblin heavy deck, this one.
Huge tornado coming through, wiping out all those little units. And I think that...
That's very interesting. You know, the tornado will quickly take out the goblins and the skeletons that are in this deck. And I guess that's the risk that you take, but the advantage is that they're fairly cheap and they're in a big group, they can be very defensive.
Yeah, very dangerous very quickly. And it will be interesting to see because, you know, Sock's got a lot of small units. You know, the bats, the goblins, the skeletons, and all that Realbab needs to do is hold on to that sneaky little tornado and he can wipe out an entire onslaught. And the goblin hut being attacked by the ice wizard, but he loses focus. And here we go, the big tornado pulling them together to get that maximum value. And then Mega Knight slowly being taken down.
Looks like a double Electro Dragon coming through. And look at this attack.
The burning through
fireball.
Here they go onto the Princess Tower. This is where the damage is laid down. 1,600, 1,500. Those attacks just taking it down slowly. And not a real response here. Funeral Parlour might just take it out. And they do. 6 seconds left to go. Sock has to come through with a big attack, but he's going to be defended. That's the time is going to run out.
The Electro Dragons had nothing to stop them, and they were just able to take down that entire tower, 2 of them together. That seemed to have been potentially a mistake.
Sock dropped a lot to try and stop them, and I think that he just got overwhelmed with the extra goblin hut and the ice wizard freezing everything and stopping his defenses. But, you know, well played by Funeral Parlour and Realbab taking out the win there. And that answers the age-old question. How do you win without poison? Easy. 2 Electro Dragons.
Yeah, it's not really the first choice that I would have thought of, but did the job on the day.
Exactly, and that is the first point in the 1v1s. But this is a best of 3, and so Sock will have the option to try and redeem himself. The game starting off quickly again. Miner being dropped down here by Sock, and the Ice Wizard slowly taking care of him. And no trade, just some early damage for Sock on Realbab's tower. And here comes the Mega Knight and the Skeleton Barrel. Is he going to get his jump? Not quite.
Nope.
Some skeletons here to slow him down.
Now the Electro Dragon is a great attack on the Mega Knight here.
And you can see there was a lot of value from that. From that one across skeleton. Just the distraction can buy you valuable seconds, I think. I think that's I can understand that. Ram Rider churning her way through to the tower there. Nice damage down. And here we see again, Electro Dragon getting some damage down. 1, 2, maybe 3 attacks. Oh, it did get that third one off just in time.
Now, Ram Rider is an interesting card. We don't often see that, but I think a couple of seasons ago there was a big Ram Rider challenge that kind of forced everybody to try out Ram Rider and put it in your deck and use it for the whole season. And perhaps it's been one that that they've stuck with.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable in decks where there's a lot of small swarm units because it does do that AoE attack as it runs in and can take out a lot of things like the skeletons and the bats. which is a nice thing to have that you don't really get from something like Hog Rider. Nice use of Barb Barrel there, with a single lone Barbarian running his way down the right channel, with the Electro Dragon with the Armada coming down on that left-hand channel. But the Mega Knight doesn't really care. He's just going straight for the skeleton with his big drop down.
Yep, jump on a single skeleton. Oh, look, we've got the miner being drawn into the King Tower.
He did, he woke it up.
Now that's awake.
And I'm not sure if Sock has fallen for that twice. I think if he chose to place the miner on the top left-hand side of that Princess Tower, it wouldn't be able to quite get dragged far enough. But he's choosing to go into the corner.
The one thing with Clash Royale is placement is everything.
Exactly, and the miner comes down again. I think that's a better position where he was that time, 1500 health, but the King Tower's already been woken up. The mistake was only had to be made once to add that extra defense, and 13 seconds left in the regular time. We will be going to overtime by the looks of it, unless Real Bab throws down the challenge, taking out the Infernal Dragon. Fireball comes down, and there is a big attack coming down. Is he going to get a regular time?
Very short overtime. Look at that.
2 seconds into overtime. Good game. Well done. And again, we see the Electro Dragon take out the game without using poison.
I told you, no poison. Electro Dragon's the way to go. Clearly, that's what we've learned today. You can't use poison.
I'm adding that to my list. That's that goes in my playoffs deck.
And with that game, that will be Funeral Parlor taking out the match tonight. So that is VAR finishing up. Congratulations to Funeral Parlor, and they will be taking the 3rd spot in our semi-final matchup. But we still have one more game for you tonight, and so be sure to stick around, and we will be right back with more Clash Royale right after these messages. Good afternoon and good evening, Clash Royale fans. We are back with the Clash Royale High School League Split 1. We are in Week 7. We are in playoffs. My name is Jonathan Arkadian Jansen, and we are here with our expert analyst and lovely co-host, Belinda Hope, a.k.a. Blendy. How awesome have these games been tonight so far?
This is the coolest Clash Royale challenge that I've ever seen. These players are amazing. They are so good. They're so well matched. I really feel for them. They've got to this point where they're the best of the best, and then they're now playing off each other for our amazing prize pack.
Absolutely, and it is an amazing prize pack thanks to Vodafone and JBL and TCL, all our amazing sponsors. But these teams are getting all that much closer. We've already had 3 teams secure their position in the semifinals, and tonight's match we will be seeing who the 4th spot goes to. Our head-to-head, our final match of tonight is going to be Barnes Babes from Knox Grammar School versus Nossel from Nossel High School. Lindy, what do we know about these two teams?
I don't know that we've seen Barnes Babes play before, but they're from Knox Grammar School, which is a private all-boys school in Sydney. And we've got Barn, who plays a lot of Clash Royale during quarantine. They finished 722nd in the Global Champs a few seasons ago. And Larry...
Global Champs, wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. And then also Larry Barnes, who changed their Clash Royale name to honour Larry and Barnes' achievements in the game. So that's pretty nice. And Nossel we've seen before. These are the sporty guys who represent in badminton and chess. They're super strategic, and they're sports players as well. So they bring in their techniques and their strategies to be able to play Clash Royale. So this is going to be a pretty exciting game. I can't wait to see it.
Absolutely, and both these teams, I believe, are coming into this round 10 wins and 1 loss apiece, and so they both have only dropped 1 game. But we will see which team or which one of those two can make it into the semifinals, because there is only 1 slot remaining. There is only 1 more chance, and we will be kicking first off into our 2v2s. It is a best of 3, and what are our bans for these matches?
Well, you won't believe it. We have got Graveyard banned, and we also have Rocket banned. Now, we've often seen Rocket win at the end, so I guess they've decided to strategically ban those ones, and we'll see, no doubt, Poison instead.
Do you think that potentially Poison is being used in place of Rocket? Like, people are banning Rocket, and that's why we're seeing so many Poison as a finisher?
Well, potentially, but I think they might have used Fireball instead of Rocket. But I think since we're seeing Poison being so successful and so cheap as well, goodness, we've just had a clone of, we've had a couple of giant skeletons and our Inferno Dragons coming out. It's pretty exciting here. And a bomb taking out.
What a play! I love that. Nozzle coming through with the stubble giant skeletons. Just
and a rage as well.
With the rage. Brilliant play. All I need to see is a clone, and these guys have definitely won me over. Very similar to the deck that I run.
No, here's our giant skeleton again. Are we all playing giant skeleton? I think so. There's giant skeletons in everyone's deck in this game, and a royal giant as well.
And here comes the Poison being dropped down. Taking down a lot of health there on the Infernal Tower, and that might even just die before it even gets to do anything. Its health will expire, and it will. The Electro Wizard slowing down any of those attacks really make those Royal Giant and Giant Skeleton last just that much longer.
Now that's quite a good play. So of course the Royal Giant doesn't attack anything else, it just charges through and attacks the buildings. And the giant skeletons were busy trying to take it out, which means that anything else can attack it. So perhaps the Royal Giant can get a couple of hits in. I don't think it did.
The bomb went off the tornado there and popped the Royal Giant. So
no, the Royal Giant is so powerful. So for the bomb and the tornado to be able to take it down, that's a pretty good combo.
These teams are running the exact same. Up to them in the 2v2s. We're just seeing giant skeletons and Royal Giants coming up against each other, being whirlwinded away.
Yeah, I wonder if they know each other and they play each other regularly to understand how their decks look. But this is pretty fascinating, seeing all these powerful cards coming out.
Now, the thing I like about this is that it's going to come down to basically an exact skill matchup, right? It's who can use these cards most effectively.
That's right. Last minute Poison.
Regular time coming to an end. We are going to see 1800 health on that Princess Tower versus 1900. So far, slight advantage here for Nozzle, pulling it through.
But only super slight. I mean, we're talking about 100 points here, but the Poison, of course, comes out.
Not anymore, with the Poison being dropped down. Now they're exactly.
Look, double Royal Giant and all of the other giant skeletons. The bomb's going to go off soon and take that down. The rage drop. It's a bit hard to see what's going on. There is so much happening.
Just bombs and rage and poison, tornadoes, everything. It just ends up being a death zone. And the left side of the channel is just completely ignored. Nothing's happening down there. You can break that bridge. You don't need it. We're only fighting on this side of the map.
I think this is an excellent point that you make. You know, it's going to come down to who can put something on the other channel, and that will actually reach the tower, because there's so much going on here. We've got 4 giant skeletons.
And I think the Inferno Tower is a really great addition for Nozzle to be able to take down those massive tanky units. But I mean, man, look at them. They're just going back and forth, taking down each other. The bombs coming down, clearing out the battlefield, but a big attack coming through. But I can't even say that because the tornado comes through and pulls them all back. The bomb goes off, knocks them all out again, and we restart here. The Poison's really doing most of the damage on both sides. Princess Tower down to 1,000 on the left hand, and Nozzle just drops theirs on the bottom, coming down to 1,000 for themselves. And the bomb tower being used for the first time.
So everything that's coming out, all the damage is being done in the middle of the screen and not on the towers. And like you say, the Poison is doing all of the work. It's chip damage on the towers.
Left.
Poison
209, 260 with the Poison coming down. This is going to be real close here.
Who's going to win it?
Can the Poison do enough? It can't. It's going to go into overtime.
Game, but still, who's going to win? There we go. Just in the last second, taken out. Wow, there was not much in that.
Exactly. That was just it was down to a matter of timing. In fact, the poison was played slightly earlier for Barnes Barnes Babes, and they managed to just get that little bit of extra damage down to
It was really
win
only
the
1
tiebreaker.
second, isn't it?
Exactly.
So,
it was just
look,
it was that
another
close.
win to poison. All of those poisons that everybody was playing that certainly won the game. That was basically winning a game using only poison.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, it's just it's. I'm surprised, although that we do have all of these creations and collections of decks that come through, and you can go onto different websites and you can say, what are the most well-performing cards and everything to get the popular decks. We haven't quite seen a team or 2v2 come through where they've had virtually all exactly the same cards. And so that was quite a sight to see. Let's see if they change up strategies or if they go for the brawl again.
Yeah, even in terms of elixir costs, they were both playing Royal Giant and Giant Skeleton, and that's, they're costing 6 each to run a deck with 2 6-cost cards in there, plus everything else that they had going on. So it's certainly a very exciting matchup as we wait to see the next game begin.
It was a stalemate there for quite a while, 45 seconds of no one playing anything. They were just going, who's going to make the first move? And again, we're getting right back into what looks like what looks like it's going to be a repeat of last match. The Giant Skeletons coming through, the poison being dropped down. But it does look like Nossel has changed up strategy slightly here with a Dark Prince, and the log. We hadn't seen that earlier. Bomb's going to go off, knock down that one. But then that bomb's going to go off and knock down that one. And so, feel it even.
And look, it's Giant against Giant.
And here we go, the Giant and the Royal, the Giant Skeleton and the Royal Giant coming through. Poison being dropped. The Electro Wizard will do his best to slow them down. But again, similar strategies. Slightly different cards, similar strategies. It looks like Nossel has just tweaked their cards slightly to try and get a little bit of an advantage potentially coming into this, but the combo seems to be fairly similar. And I say that as the two Ice Wizards just attack each other until one dies.
Now the Miner comes out. Now that's actually done a little bit more damage. I don't think we saw the Miner in the last one, and the Fireball, those are going to be extra big chip damage options for this game. We see it's already down to 1,600.
It is, and the tower going to take down the Mega Minion, wipe out the little Frost Wizard, Ice Wizard, and we will reset again with the 2 lumbering tanks wandering up the right-hand channel. Once again, the left-hand Princess Towers can just take the day off, sign in early, go home. I don't think that they're going to be needed.
Yeah, I think it was a very good choice to add in the Fireball and the Miner, because I think I've realised that the giant attacks are not going to reach the towers. So anything else, other spells that can be cast that do, a couple hundred damage here and there when they come out, that's going to be it. Oh, we might see a giant.
He almost got through.
He
almost got through, but he got pulled all the way back again. And that's going to sort of have a catch-22 as the bomb blows up in his face. Towers are still alive, going into overtime. And I think I agree with you. I like the Miner edition more than I like the Dark Prince, because the Dark Prince still is just going to get caught up in that massive slugfest happening in the center. Whereas
look, we're seeing the Royal Giant actually managed to get through, and the Royal Giant took out the tower.
He did. He broke it away. Barnes Babes taking away the point on the 2v2s. And so that is 1 set down. Can the 1v1s bring it back? That is going to be the question here for Nossel, performing, very well up until this stage. But this is the playoffs. This is where the rubber meets the road. It is very important for them to walk away with this to get into the semifinals. And walking into the 1v1s next, what are our bans we're going to see?
Well, Goblin Barrel is banned, and the Elixir Pump is banned. Now, that's one that we don't often see. That's the building that creates elixir bubbles. So, for some reason, they've selected that.
Oh, no Elixir Pump. Maybe there's some insider information there. Maybe there's something that they were too afraid to deal with, or something that, the extra buildings can distract them, but it is an odd ban to say the least. But this becomes a very, very important game for Nossel, knowing that this is it. They can either take away this and force a tiebreaker in the King of the Hill, or unfortunately, they will be out of the tournament, as Barnes Babes would end up securing their spot and the final spot available in the semi-finals. It is Little Smash versus Larry Barnes, which is just Larry and Barnes names put together from the 2v2. So we'll see who takes this one out.
Now, I'm curious to see whether Barnes perhaps use the elixir pump regularly. If they are playing high elixir things like the Giants all of the time, you could be adding more elixir into it. While they're waiting to see who's going to play first. And I wonder if Nossel has looked up how Barnes plays and decided, right, that's actually going to be our most strategic band to play.
Absolutely, and it could very well be the case. We know that Little Smash has that competitive experience. Researching into the players. Now, this is one of the longest waits we've ever seen to see who plays first.
This is a challenge of the emotes.
We are 1 minute 45 into the game and no one's played a card. Do you have any insight into why this is exactly happening?
No, I do not. Perhaps they have got their most ultimate deck. They're going to see what they're going to play first, who's going to play it where, and then just be able to lay out a whole lot of cards. But, you're only saving up 10 elixir to be able to play, so it doesn't really make any sense. So I imagine that we're going to be going into overtime.
I've seen this happen once before at the not just once before, but the first time I saw this happen was at the league, the Clash Royale World Championship, and at 1 minute, this game is going to explode. All the cards that they're going to have, I'm assuming, going to be very low cost, and once the double elixir phase starts, here we go. Things are going to start dropping really quickly, and the game's really going to start cranking off. But we haven't seen it before in this tournament, so I'm really excited to have seen it happen just now. 38 elixir burn for both teams, but the map's going absolutely crazy, dropping down double dragons there and the bomb tower for Little Smash, and Larry Barnes bringing in the elixir golem.
The elixir golem, which is obviously an excellent replacement for the elixir building, and the battle healer to try and keep it alive.
A huge armada coming down in the attack, but quickly defended. 1,200 health, 800 health. It's getting attacked very, very quickly. Is the Baby Dragon going to take it down? This is the benefit of this strategy. He only has 17 seconds now to rebut, I guess, against that strategy. Otherwise, Little Smash is going to take it away, and Larry Barnes can't get in fast enough.
No, you can't do 2,000 damage in 5 seconds. It's not going to happen.
That's going to be the game.
That is the game. Wow.
Little Smash taking it out with the 60-second, 2 times elixir rush strategy. I'm super excited we saw that. I haven't seen that happen in one of these matches so far, and I was wondering if we were going to see it, but it worked off perfectly for Little Smash.
Yeah, I wonder if they both knew that they were going to do that, or it really was and on the edge of their seat. Who's going to play it? Do I play something yet, or do I keep waiting? No, I just play another emote, and it just kept on going into this massive emote battle of wits, and it got down to a minute, like you said, and then one tower is all it takes to win.
Exactly. 1 crown games all you need, and that is the first 1v1 taken out on the side of Nossel, scraping their way back into the game. Let's see if Little Smash can do it again, because if he manages to pull that back, we might be going to the King of the Hill to see which one of these teams make it into the semifinals. It is going to be an exciting match. And can I just get a quick reminder while we wait for the game to load up on the bans for this game?
The bans for the 1v1 are the Elixir Building and the Goblin Barrel.
All right, Goblin Barrel and Elixir Building. We won't be seeing either of those, which makes sense because if we did, we would have seen them place one earlier. Are we going to see another standoff here? No,
it's actually the Elixir Collector.
The Elixir Collector, sorry. And Larry Barnes starting it off. He's saying, no, I didn't like that. I'll throw the minor down. Let's see what you've got.
Yeah, let's play a proper game. So here we go. We've got a Inferno Dragon coming through. And poison, of course.
And this at least gives Larry Barnes that chance to be able to scope out what kinds of cards Little Smash has got. You know, build, understand what kind of counters you have, know which cards you need to hold. 60 seconds isn't a lot of time to react to a powerful attack.
Yeah, that was a little sneaky. But it worked, and it was fun to watch. So that's all that we're here for.
That's right. He's a strategist. That's how it goes. This is a strategy game. And the rage coming through on the Baby Dragon, getting a nice little bit of an attack on there. But unfortunately, the Infernal Dragon will take him down. The Ice Wizard does not reset his ramping attack damage.
And we've got no damage done on Barnes Babe's towers. And the first bit of damage hitting the top right. We've got a little bit on the top left.
And Little Smash, interesting choice of Little Smash to play that down the left channel. You'd think that he'd want to stay away from his weaker tower, but he's got a decent attack coming through, and it is really paying off for him. Royal Giant really taking out that tower, and it's going to maybe do the job. Not quite. He's taken out 300 health.
But pretty close.
Absolutely.
The Lumberjack's Rage certainly managed to add some payoff to that. That was very good.
And we see the
Lava Hound. Favorite from our previous match.
And an Infernal Dragon with the combo as well. That's going to be a scary attack to try and stop.
Now, this is the best thing you can do in a 1v1. You know, that before we were seeing 2 Lava Hounds.
11 health on the lightning spell. Quite enough to get there.
There's so many dragons coming down. Look at the dragon fight. Look at all of that. I think, you know, they're all going to hit that tower. And the Lava Hound is
pretty much gone.
Look at that, it's gone.
But
how many is still alive to take out the next tower? Another Lava Hound comes out.
Little Smash needs to get to his lightning spell as fast as he can, and he just uses it. That's going to at least go into overtime. That ended up being very tight. Larry Barnes, a massive amount of damage. It's all gone. That's a King Tower. The first King Tower we've seen all night.
Wow, that was amazing. All of those dragons that came out, and then in the last second, the tornado dragged them all to the King Tower, which of course took it out. Probably wasn't the intended use of the tornado, but so many dragons. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a great attack there from Barnes Babes, and taking out the 1v1 equalizer there. And so we will be going to another 1v1 to see who can take out this point. And this is an incredibly important match for Nossel. Literally their entire tournament is on the line coming into this next match. If they can take it away, they will be going to a King of the Hill. If Little Smash cannot quite get there, it will mean that Barnes Babes will be progressing into the semifinals. Let's get into the action with the Wall Breakers starting off, running down and popping on the Princess Tower. A little bit of early damage.
Yeah, you know, there's so much riding on this game. I bet their teammates are going, no pressure, guys, but seriously, all the pressure. You got to win this for us. Come on.
And a good early defense there, trading a little bit for Nossel, defending his tower nicely. And that'll... Ooh, the Wall Breaker not quite getting the damage off.
Now, Wall Breakers, I don't know if you've seen that tonight. I've managed to convince some of the other people in my isolation bubble to play Clash Royale, and so they're still on Arena 1, but they've managed to get Wall Breakers in Arena 1, and it's very exciting to see it played out in such a, you know, in a low arena like that, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
putting new people into the game.
Doing your due diligence and doing your part, getting the gaming community rolling. Baby Dragon coming through versus the Mini Picker and the Miner, shooting up on Little Smash's left side of the match, going underground, popping up right in front there. And the Barbarian Barrel cleaning it out pretty nicely.
Now, nice use of the Miner there, taking out a little bit. Now, of course, Miner features in my group stage All-Stars deck that I've been talking about tonight. Perhaps I might need to do a summary of the cards again.
All the cards that we used in our earlier group stages are the most popular cards.
Yeah, they don't necessarily go together as a deck, but I've been trying them out today, and it's been super fun playing them.
Little Smash throwing out the GG there. 1 minute left in the game. Hasn't done a lot of damage to Larry Barnes's towers. and his tower is quite low there, 1200. I'm wondering if he's feeling the pressure for sure. Royal Giant coming out on the right-hand channel, Mega Knight and Firecracker. That's going to be a big attack to try and stop. Does he have the elixir to do it?
Well, the jump comes through. That could be it. The minions come through, backing it up. That's the tower. They've got 30 seconds to go, and over 2,000 left on each of the towers. I don't think they're not. It's a pretty tough battle. And look, we're down to another tower gone.
Little smash call on the GG.
We might even get the King Tower as well. It's 1,000 left and 16 seconds to go.
The tough ask became more impossible with that being taken out in 9 seconds. He might get a Princess Tower.
We got one, but Little Smash managed in at the end. Amazing.
Fighting all the way to the end. But
well,
he wasn't quite able to get there.
Again.
Absolutely, and that with that match, it will be Barnes Babes taking out the 1v1, and because they won the 2v2, that will be Barnes Babes securing their spot in the semi-finals. And so with that, we have our semi-final games all sorted. We know what our tournament bracket is going to be. Let's take a look at tonight's results and next week's semi-finals. We had Zero and Team Anti-PTW opening up the night, with Zero taking it out 2-0. Moving on to the first spot in the semi-finals, Rotho Frost and Warlocks, both from Mount Albert Grammar School, battling it out, with Warlocks taking it away 2-0 to meet Zero in the semi-finals. And then we had Funeral Parlor from Burnside High School versus VAR. Funeral Parlor being returning champions, coming in with the 2-0. And finally, we had Barnes Babes versus Nossel. We just saw Barnes Babes taking out Nossel 2-0, making their way to the semi-finals. Next week is going to be an absolutely insane night. Tonight was already pretty crazy. We saw most teams had never dropped a game before, and the teams that are advancing into the semi-finals pretty much, not only gave them their first defeat, but they did so quite consistently. We see across the board, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, pretty much clean sweeps. And so next week is going to be exciting. You looking forward to it?
I certainly am. And look, all of these teams that play tonight are the best of the best, Australia and New Zealand. And please, all of you teams, make sure that when you go back to school, that you celebrate that you've managed to get to the playoffs of an international esports tournament. Make sure that you get all of that recognition for your school. You've all done so well. It's been very exciting watching.
Absolutely, and it's a great point. They've done fantastically well so far, even the top 8 teams, all the teams that have played tonight and the rest of the tournament. We are now getting down to the top 4 teams we just saw in Australia and New Zealand in high school league for Clash Royale. And so next week, be sure to stick around to see that amazing semi-final, moving on to crown Australia and New Zealand's best Clash Royale team. A huge thank you to our sponsors tonight, Vodafone, JBL, TCL, and Conquer, and everyone else who has made tonight possible. Thank you at home for watching, staying safe in your bubble, and we will be back next week for the Clash Royale Week 8 semi-finals. Do not miss it. Everyone here at the HSL production team and everyone who's involved in the tournament, we say thank you, good night, stay safe, GG, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.